on. You know what I want to do? I want to focus on someone who almost always seems to get overlooked. Every explanation of what happened that night assumes Ron Goldman was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. But what if he wasn't collateral damage? What if he was the target?
He fought for his life, and it was horrible what was done to him. It was almost like it was a torture killing of Ron Goldman. Very, very different from Nicole. It's almost like they deliberately did it slow so the person would suffer and suffer and suffer. Just looks like a mob death.
One of the problems in the whole case is that Ron Goldman has been more or less neglected. The entire focus was on Nicole Simpson. She was the primary victim. O.J. killed her in a fit of rage. Ron Goldman just showed up, wrong place, wrong time. His life is more complicated.
Ron Goldman was the waiter at the Mezzaluna restaurant. A young man with everything to live for.
Ron was a childhood friend. Even back then, he was life of the party. Made friends with everybody very easily. He had the mindset of the California surfer, even though he'd never surfed a day in his life.
Well, the background of Ron Goldman was somebody who was very, very focused on entrepreneurial success. And so he was looking for his big opportunity. And one of his reasons for becoming involved with Nicole was to go into business together.
Ron talked about opening a restaurant. He was what one would consider a professional waiter and was very good at it. Very often would be invited to sit down at the end of the meal with the family that was there. He would be the face of the restaurant. He'd be the one greeting everybody. Very personable that way.
It seemed that Ron was very well received. Everybody liked him. He was a very congenial kind of person. But I don't think that there was any deep personal relationship between Ron and Nicole from either side. I don't think Ron was really looking for a sexual relationship. I don't think Nicole was either.
There certainly are accounts of people involved with the Mezzaluna having been involved with what one author refers to as organized vice, prostitution, drugs. I cannot say that the Mezzaluna as an institution was involved with something like that, but there are numerous accounts that, in fact, people who frequented the Mezzaluna were engaged in those kinds of activities.
There's absolutely no question that a Colombia-driven cocaine business had come in to Los Angeles at that time. Cocaine would come in on pallets, and there was a turf fight over who's going to distribute cocaine in Los Angeles. I was told by people who worked at a couple of these fashionable LA West Side restaurants like Mezzaluna that the people running them are distributing drugs, and some of the people who work here are mules. For those who don't know, a mule is a person who carries drugs from one place to the other.
Ron could have been in a situation where he knew too much.
1 year before, Ron Goldman had an acquaintance named Brett Cantor, who was involved with a club called Dragonfly here in Los Angeles. And Brett Cantor got his throat slit from ear to ear, exactly like Ron Goldman. Then Goldman ends up dead. 1 year after that, another young man associated with Mezzaluna named Michael Nigg gets out of his car and is shot to death. 3 young men, all around the same age, all interconnected, all killed in unsolved crimes. We don't know what his connection to it was. What we do have very clearly is this backdrop of this drug culture, which contains convicted felons, which contains lots of money, which contains dead bodies, and nobody talks about it. Nobody has really opened this door.